You know your games don't have to have furries to play them, right? Like, Call of Duty isn't going to be made better if it's furries committing the war crimes instead. I'm just playing with you. I like furries. You like furries? Probably. Seems a lot of non-furries get recommended my stuff now too, so it's hard to know for sure who will see this. But anyway, here's some cool games that star furry characters. I'm going to try and name stuff you probably missed or might have been sleeping on. It wouldn't be a very good list if I named something you've definitely played, like Spyro, Crash, or Banjo. And I didn't name Cult of the Lamb in this because everyone's playing Cult of the Lamb. Gunfire Reborn. I'm naming this one first because it's super cheap, and it has cheap DLC. I'm trying to show a lot of games that run the gamut of availability depending on who may be watching, so that you can at least get one of these games that you're seeing here. Gunfire Reborn also has lots of updates, and it's 4-player co-op. Gunfire Reborn is an action FPS roguelite where you play as cute, fluffy animals shooting bigger animals with big guns. The stages are somewhat randomized, where they're generated via tile sets and the loot is randomized. You go through a few stages collecting loot, leveling your skills, collecting scrolls to improve stats or get weird effects, while shooting big weird guns. A lot of people compare it to Borderlands, and that's not exactly far off. It definitely encapsulates the general experience of Borderlands while making it significantly shorter experience. The characters are all functional, somewhat similar to Borderlands characters. Each has unique passives that can be unlocked and skills that you pick up that change how they function. They also have a primary skill, which usually works like an ultimate move in many games. Like, the dog can temporarily dual wield, and based on the skills you grab, he can dish out serious damage with big explosions, or use it to raise his health and make him an even better tank. The cat can freeze enemies, the bunny shoots flying swords that seek out enemies, the fox can charge up and release a fireball that turns into a giant flaming fox if charged enough, and there's more characters than that. Their secondary skills usually work like grenades, but with some being actual grenades and others can call down meteors. For example, the bunny can make a magical burst appear on an enemy, and if she specs into the right ability, she can make it so some of her flying swords fly into enemies she hits with her magical explosion. And another character's grenade ability isn't even a grenade, it's just him swinging his arm at people. He just punches as a grenade effect. But like Borderlands, the weapons are characters of their own too. The weapons aren't made of randomized parts, however, so if you pick up the Cavalry Assault Rifle, you know it's always going to be a 3-burst assault rifle. But the randomized aspect is each gun has a series of passive effects generated on them. Like, the Cavalry can get an effect that increases the fire rate of the Cavalry based on how much ammo is being expended. But weapons are a little more interesting than just assault rifles and SMGs. There are rocket launchers, throwing knives, guns that make shields, guns that absorb attacks and fire them back, homing weapons, chameleons that spit acid, lizards that fire fireballs, or even a tiny dragon flamethrower. Each of the weapons can be fire, shock, or corrosive type damage, where each element does more damage to health bars, shields, and armor, respectively. But when 2 elements hit, there's a chance that the elements will fuse and cause a new effect like mind control. The game setting is also incredibly unique. The enemies and environment are based off of a fusion of Chinese and Japanese folklore with clay soldiers, yokai, and more. The themes go into the characters too, with the bunny being cherry blossom themed and the fox being kitsune themed. The stages are filled with rewards and challenges for people willing to do them, like portals to extra stages where you can do parkour challenges, defense missions, challenge arenas, and elite bosses. Killing enemies and performing actions also unlock more weapons and scrolls, which give you various bonuses and change how your character works. For example, there is a scroll that takes your shield total and applies it to your health bar. Health doesn't regenerate except for certain passives, but now you don't have to worry about shock eating your shield up. They recently had a DLC that released a Kitsune character and a monkey character themed after Sun Wukong. With new updates like more weapons being added every quarter of the year, I've been playing it since early access release, and it's still one of my favorite roguelites, let alone a game that has furries in it. You can get Gunfire on Steam, and soon it'll be on Xbox One, Xbox Series S, and Xbox Series X, around Halloween. Tunic. If you're looking for something with a more retro charm or Souls-like difficulty, then Tunic is a great choice. You play a little fox in a Zelda-like game. Your goals and instructions are super unclear, but it's done deliberately. The game tries to use this lack of knowledge against you. It doesn't really teach you anything, but instead gives you hints and the context you need to figure it out for yourself. Discovering even the most mundane things in this game feels like a big achievement, and I recommend going in entirely blind and with no guides. At first your goals are unclear, but as you collect pages to a video game manual, you start to get more ideas on what you're supposed to do. But it wouldn't be so fun if the game just flat out told you. The pages are also in a different language. It reminds me of when you buy a game before the internet and you'd only had the manual to help you figure out how to play. Tunic makes even experienced gamers feel like they're playing their first video game again. The game even tries to use your knowledge of other video games against you, and I want to talk about it so much, but I can't talk about it without spoiling the experience. And spoiling the experience here would really be a shame because it is a very unique experience. Please, just go play it. It's on the Xbox and PC Game Pass, and on the 27th it'll be on the PS4 and PS5. Solita Robo. I wanted to mention a couple games that could be emulated in case you didn't have the money for the other games mentioned, but I also wanted to mention something rare and expensive. Thankfully, Solita Robo covers both of these. The game has beautifully animated cutscenes made by Madhouse Studios. You might know them for animes like Death Note, Cardcaptor Sakura, Devil May Cry, Hunter x Hunter, and One Punch Man. It was also positively received across the board and won a lot of awards. But for some reason, it only sold 100,000 copies, and is now one of the rarest games on the DS. You'll be lucky to see a copy in person, let alone for less than $100. Solita Robo is a mech fighting game centered around a throwing mechanic. You either throw enemies or throw stuff at them. It's a pretty simple game, but it's filled with tons of dialogue and cute sprites. It's very JRPG in length and pacing, and the depth in gameplay comes from an equipment menu where you buy and organize these chips into a grid. It's like Tetris with stats. The progression mechanics are weird. It has this very JRPG presentation with immense amounts of dialogue, but the combat is actually really simple. The dialogue is, however, very trope-ridden. It's very much an anime game. Blah blah, chosen one, blah blah, friends to enemies. If you've ever played a JRPG, you already know the story for this game. Red is your standard anime protag, and his sister, Chocolat, is your standard supporting character. She serves as a tool to develop Red more than having any form of development of her own. It also has a problem with one-off mechanics and grinding. One mission it'll turn into a jet sim, another it's a racing game. It tries a lot, and despite not playing like a standard JRPG, there is a lot of farming. I know I'm sounding harsh, but I'm really being overly critical because I like the game. I just think it could be better. It's overall a very cute game and very stylized and unique looking. And it's furries in a setting that you don't typically see them in. Steampunk. It's a different kind of game. It feels like Yuji Naka tried to create a JRPG. How do I get it? That's the fun part. You can't. I mean, you could emulate it, but I'm not allowed to tell you where to find that stuff. If you try hard enough, you'll find it. Princess Farmer. This game was an easy one to overlook, but the devs sent me a copy for this one, and I had a really good time playing it. I genuinely would have missed out had they not sent me a copy. It's one of those games that you think you might not be interested in until you start actually playing. You play the Princess Farmer, a bunny farmer who was blessed by Mother Nature to help save the planet. It's a fully co-op magical girl puzzle game where up to 2 players can play a fun and fast-paced puzzler where you rip veggies out of the ground and throw them back into the ground to make combos with other veggies. The campaign is really short, but pretty good, and can be finished in one sitting, but they're making add-ons all the time, and the game is super LGBT friendly with lots of lesbian overtones and Sailor Moon references. There's even a trans character and one who uses neo-pronouns like Fae. The sprite work is cute, all of the characters have a ton of personality, and I want to give them all a smooch. I super recommend it to furries, LGBT people, retro fans, magical girl fans, and people who just like cute bunnies matching stuff. The creator is also LGBT and made this as a project with their partner, and it recently got approved for Steam Deck Play and is available on all major platforms. Clash of Carrots. Anyone who talks to me long enough will find me talking about this game at some point, so let's just get it out of the way now. This is absolutely one of my top 10 games. Not everyone who plays it with me feels the same way, but it's absolutely one of my favorites. This was another game that I might not have tried if it weren't for the dev sending me a key. Clash of Carrots is a 2-player co-op game that plays like a side-scrolling brawler game like the TMNT games, but with an infinite runner-style twist. All the characters are ninjas running to the right while slicing enemies with swords and throwing shuriken. It features a story mode that's very arcadey and a randomized roguelike mode, both of which reward you with money that you can use to buy better equipment, and one of the masks you can buy in the game is Sonic Fox, the furry professional fighting game player. You might know him for taking first in 6 different EVO fighting game tournaments.
Okay, and the game award goes to Sonic Fox, everybody.
Wow. I really won this shit. Oh my god.
I wish someone would put me in a video game, especially one as good as this. The story is light, just enough to get you going, but the gameplay is fun enough to carry it. You should check it out. Look at this super cute red panda that you can play. I mean, look, adorable. It's available on every major platform, and you should check it out. Alright, that's all I have for right now. If you want to see another list like this one, then I'm going to need to see some likes and subs, people. I've played all of these, and if you want to see me play games like this, you can sub to my gaming channel, youtube.com/SeraProto. We're almost to 1,000 over there. Or follow me on twitch.tv/SeraProto. I'll see you all next time. Go gamer it up, and I'll see you all later. Bye.